A very good morning to all the students of class 11. Today I am going to explain the poem The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes. Well, before we begin, something about the poet Ted Hughes, whose lifespan is from 1930 to 98. He was the poet laureate of England, and the subject matter that he draws for all his poems is from the world of animals. He shows his love for the world of nature, birds, and animal, as is evident from this poem. I will read the poem and explain it side by side. The Laburnum Top. Before we begin, what is the laburnum? The laburnum, it's the name of a tree which is standing still, and the top part that has been taken, the laburnum top, the tree top. The laburnum top is silent, quite still, in the afternoon yellow September sunlight. A few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. So the laburnum top is the name of a tree, and the poet opens the poem depicting the tree standing absolutely silent and absolutely still. There seems to be no breeze around, otherwise there would be some rustling of leaves or the branches swaying. So the two qualities that he's given over here, the laburnum top is silent and quite still. In the afternoon, yellow September sunlight. Now this tells us yellow September sunlight. The poet is talking about the autumn season. A few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. The leaves are turning yellow. As you know, in autumn, all the green leaves turn yellow, and slowly then they begin to fall off the tree. And we know that in autumn, trees do shed their leaves. And all its seeds fallen. Maybe, you know, they've just scattered all around, they've fallen. And the seeds of the laburnum tree are supposed to be poisonous. So the laburnum tree is standing silent, quite still, without any movement, in the afternoon when the yellow September sunlight. So the poet has used the yellow color in the entire stanza. In the yellow September sunlight, a few leaves yellowing and all its seeds have fallen. And the laburnum tree, it has flowers that are yellow in color, and actually, when the bird that they're going to talk about now, which comes into picture, is the goldfinch. That is also a bird which has yellow feathers. Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. Till the goldfinch. That means now we're connecting the first stanza to the second one. So the tree is absolutely still, but it is still only till the goldfinch, only till the bird comes. Because when the bird comes, there is a change. And what is that change? Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup. So she's, you know, the birds, when they chirrup, the sound of the bird. A suddenness. And suddenly she comes, you know, it's very, very abrupt. A startlement, something that's, you know, very surprising. At a branch end. And, you know, as the branches from the center, they move out towards the side. So she perches herself, she comes and lands herself or perches herself on the branch end. Then what happens? Then sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt. Now, sleek as a lizard you all know. So a lizard's movements are very, very alert. It moves about very, very quickly, and it's always, you know, looking around and very alert to any danger or any threat that is there for it. So it's very, you know, and sleek means it's the sheen on the body or something, the sheen, the shine, and the sleekness of the lizard, and it's very alert and very, very abrupt. It suddenly moves and changes direction. Now, sleek as a lizard is a simile, because the bird has been compared with the lizard. So it's a simile. Then sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness. the thickness of the tree, where the foliage is very, very thick, the leaves, the branches, all in the center, it's very, very thick. So first she comes and perches on the end of the branch. Then from the end of the branch, very quickly, very abruptly, with great speed, promptly, she moves on to the middle of the tree, the center of the tree, where it is very, very thick. The foliage is thick. And what happens then? And a machine starts up of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings. So the minute the bird goes into the midst of the tree, the center of the tree, what happens? There's a lot of noise all of a sudden, like an engine starting up. Engine, when you have to start any machine, first of all, you have to begin with the engine. Take, for example, a car only. When you put the keys and the ignition and then the engine starts, only then does the car start moving. So over here, the bird has been compared to an engine. She comes, and the minute she comes into the midst of the tree, the thick foliage, immediately there is a lot of sound produced, as if an engine is starting. Of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings. Now these are the little baby birds, the fledglings or chicks as we say. They all, when they see their mother coming in, they all start twittering and chirping and making a lot of noise. Probably they are hungry and they were waiting for their mother to come with some food for them. So mothers come over there to feed her children, feed her little fledglings. So there is a lot of commotion, lot of noise. They are excited, and it seems as if they are eagerly waiting for the mother to come, and the minute they see the mother, they cannot resist any longer, and they start chattering, chirping, and the tremor of wings. There is a shaking of wings and trillings. The whole tree trembles and thrills. There's a lot of excitement. And suddenly, as in the first stanza we had seen, the tree was standing still and silent. Now over here, it's not silent because the little fledglings are very excitedly chirping and twittering and waiting for the food to be given to them. And the whole tree also seems to be trembling and shaking with excitement. The tree suddenly comes alive. It is the engine of her family. Now it is who? The bird. The goldfinch is the engine of her family. Now this is a figure of speech. The engine of the family, it is a metaphor. So the bird has been metaphorically used as an engine, just as an engine starts and then the rest of the machine also starts moving or working or gets into action. Similarly, she is the engine. The minute she arrives there, the little babies start making a lot of noise excitedly. She stokes it full, stokes it, fills it. Now you must have seen in olden days we had these trains which had these fireplaces and coal had to be stoked into it by the men. So filling of the fireplace with fresh coal so that the engine continues to run. So she stokes it full. Here it means she feeds her babies. Because they were hungry, she's brought food for them. So she stokes it full till they are satisfied, till their hunger is satisfied and their tummies are full. Then flirts out, then comes out of that thickness again to a branch end. Again she comes out to a branch end, showing her barred face, identity mask. Now, in the beginning also, the first thing that when she alights on the tree, perches on the tree, what does she do? She perches on the branch end. Now, probably at that time, as the duty of a mother, she perches on the end first to ensure that all is safe. Only then she enters because she wants no danger for her children. So first she looks around very like a lizard and is very, very conscious of the fact and looks around, is very alert and sudden movements so that, if somebody's watching doesn't come to know. And then she enters the thickness of the tree. And the best part is because the bird is yellow in color and the leaves and the flowers are all yellow in color, so it camouflages the bird. Camouflages, she cannot be seen easily, is not conspicuous, is not easily seen. And then After feeding the babies also, first she comes out to the branch end once again, and she shows her barred face, her identity mask. So probably there can be two connotations to it. First one is that she looks in the direction of the children, the fledglings, so that they can have a look at her face and know that this is the mother. So, and another thing is that the poet has tried to bring out the identity of the bird. This bird had bars or lines or marks on the face, and it seemed as if she was wearing a mask, but actually those marks are her identity. Now here we go into a little deeper thing, because she is a mother, and when she comes on to feed her babies, she's one with the tree, she's one with the children, but above all, she has an individuality of her own, and those bars on the face are her identity. And each one of us actually must have an identity of our own. You mingle with the crowd, but then you have to stand above the crowd, or you have to have your individuality to protect so that you don't become a part of the crowd, in the sense like it's a microcosm in a macrocosm. So that kind of a thing over here, the bird is using itself by alighting on the branch to show its identity, to show its individuality. Now, then with eerie, delicate whistle chirrup whisperings, she launches away towards the infinite. So she comes to the end of the branch after feeding her babies. The babies are satisfied. She's satisfied that she's done her duty, her role that was there to feed the babies, to look after them, to keep them safe from danger, any kind of threat. And after doing her job, then she flies away towards the infinite. Infinite means the infinite sky. And what happens after that? The laburnum subsides to empty. So all that commotion, that trilling, that tremor, everything comes to a standstill once again, and the tree attains its original position as it was introduced, that there is no noise and there is no movement. So once again, the tree comes back to its original position of being silent and still. So the tree, as we see, has been taken as a symbol of life. The laburnum tree has been taken as a symbol of life. Now, this tree has shown us two phases, the silent and still phase, and then the noisy and the excited phase. Similarly, in life also, we have these two phases, joys and sorrows, the highs and lows, the ups and downs. These are all a part and parcel of life. If there is winter, can there be spring behind? No. So we all have to take it in our stride as we come across joys and sorrows. We have to face them in a similar manner, because nothing is permanent, neither joy nor sorrow. Another connotation that we have in the poem, besides the one having two phases of life, the joy and sorrow, we also can say that it involves exchange of energy and transformation also. And how we can say that is, the birds are living in that tree. The goldfinch has made a nest in the tree. So just as the tree gave itself, the nest is in the tree. Similarly, when the bird comes, the goldfinch comes, and there's a lot of activity and commotion, so there's exchange of energy, and as a result there is transformation. So from the stillness, the bird also brings the tree to life. So that is another connotation also which I thought I would share with you, that because the birds have taken shelter in the tree, and in return what does the goldfinch give the tree? It gives it life. So exchange of energy and transformation. So here also, the life, as we know, has its connotations of being joyful and sorrowful, but then it all comes to an end and life moves on. It's a cyclic process, it moves on. So the bird also, it does its duty, just as we play our role in life, we play various roles in life. But at the same time, we play those different roles, but we have an identity of our own. Similarly, the bird is also doing its duty. It looks after its little fledglings, it feeds them, protects them, and ultimately, the bird also has an identity of her own, and that is depicted by the bars or the lines or the marks on her face. That is her individuality, her identity. Just as we all also, we have different roles to play in life, but after all, we are all individuals, each to his own, and each one of us has an identity of our own. And the laburnum subsides to empty. So once again, the tree becomes silent and still. Now, the engine of the family, I told you, is a metaphor. Then we have of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings. Now, alliteration here, there's a repetition of the sound R, tremor, trillings, and there's a repetition of ing, wings and trillings. So we have an alliteration in these words here. Okay. Now this poem, basically it's an image poem, an imagery has been created. It shows how the arrival of the goldfinch in the month of autumn, where the tree seems to be brooding, the tree seems to be silent. And then the bird comes and the tree begins to throb with life. It suddenly becomes very, very active. And when the bird flies away, it again plunges into silence. So these are the two phases of human life that we all experience. There are moments of joy and activity, and there are moments of feeling low, and there can be silence also, and sometimes boredom also. So the two phases of life that are there. Okay, the literary devices I would like to repeat once again for you. As I told you, the laburnum tree is a symbol of life, and it's also a symbol of peace, serenity, which is an integral part of nature. So laburnum tree is a symbol of life and also a symbol of peace and serenity, which is an integral part of nature. Because nature is very soothing, nature is very peaceful, nature is very serene. Then the next symbol is yellow, the color yellow that has been used, the yellowing leaves. And yellow is the symbol of decay and loneliness. Decay and loneliness. Yellow September, yellowing leaves, they all refer to the autumn and the process of decay. Now the goldfinch, the bird, is a symbol of activity and liveliness, because the minute the bird comes and perches herself on the branch of the tree suddenly comes alive, and there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of action taking place. So the goldfinch is a symbol of activity and liveliness. Then the next figure of speech is simile. As I told you, sleek as a lizard. The smoothness of the bird is compared to that of a lizard. Then we had the other figure of speech, that is metaphor, the bird being the engine of the family. The noise of the engine is identified with the noise and commotion made by the young ones when the goldfinch comes to feed them. And she is the engine of the family because it's her family, and she is the one who comes there, and she is the one who gives them that clue that yes, food has come, and now you have to look sharp and you have to look active. Now, alliteration, I told you just now, chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings. There's a repetition of the sound R, and there's a repetition of the words INGS sounds. Okay. Now, I would like to do a few questions with you. What do you notice about the beginning and the ending of the poem? As I told you, the beginning and ending of the poem are highlighted with stillness and silence. And it is autumn and the beginning, and in the Before the goldfinch comes to the bird, the tree is silent and still, and when it flies away after doing its duty, after playing its role of feeding the babies, the tree once again becomes silent and still. The next question: to what is the bird's movement compared, and what is the basis for this comparison? The bird's movement is compared to a lizard, which is a simile used here, as sleek as a lizard, because the lizard is very, very alert and abrupt and very, very quick in its movements, quick in hiding itself from danger. So the goldfinch is also very, very quick, abrupt, and suddenly she appears and suddenly there's noise. So everything happens, very, very fast. So the quickness, very quickly she perches on the branch and very quickly she goes into the midst of the thickness of the tree. Okay, what is the image of the engine evoked by the poet? Now, the poet has used the image of the engine to bring to light the importance of the bird in the life of the tree. Just as the engine sets into motion the working of a machine or an apparatus or a vehicle, the bird also activates the working of the laburnum, that it brings the tree to life. And she is the engine of the family because she is the one who's looking after, feeding and sustaining them. Okay. What does the phrase "her barred face identity mask" mean? It means that the goldfinch face, which is hidden behind the branches, now it comes when she's sitting on the branch and her face comes into full view. One can notice the bars or the marks or the lines on her face, which appear to be like a mask, but actually it is her identity. She is recognized because of that. So that is basically her individuality and her identity. Okay. What is compared to a machine? The tree is compared to a machine after the arrival of the goldfinch. Why? Because suddenly it becomes very noisy and it begins to tremble. Next question. There are two types of mood in the poem. Explain. Before the arrival of the poet, I told you two phases are there. So before the arrival of the goldfinch, the tree is silent, inactive, maybe, we can say in a sad mood. But when the goldfinch comes, the tree becomes noisy and active, and it is indicative of a delightful mood, happiness, joy. So there are two types of mood in the poem. Describe the sound of the goldfinch. The sound of the goldfinch is a little peculiar, strange. It has a twittering song, and it arouses the feeling of a mystery, especially towards the end, in that soft whistles and soft chirrup, and then she flies away. What does the goldfinch do? The goldfinch comes to the tree chirping, and it produces vibrations in the tree, and it becomes like a powerful engine and causes the tree to tremble and trill and also thrill. Also the song, and after the song, it flies away. And what happens to the tree after she flies away? When after the bird flies away into the sky, after singing the song and after feeding the babies, all vibrations come to a standstill, and again the tree becomes silent and empty without any motion. Well, I hope you've understood the text and understood the question and answers also. Thank you very much for watching.